Welcome to Philly Coco Presents Side Project Spotlight, episode 106. This is a developer's journey into making cool stuff. I'm Kotaro.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are Philly Coco, a Philadelphia-based Coco Heads community focused on Apple development that primarily, but not exclusively, means iOS, Mac, tvOS, watchOS, and visionOS development. Philly Coco's true desire is to take you higher on your own developer journey. Whew. All right.
Yes.
All right. That came out a little more dramatic than it should have, but
It's a dramatic time we live in.
I got ginger beer that's keeping me spicy. So
I got Coke Zero, just keeping me, I don't know, slightly caffeinated without the sugar rush.
Maybe something else instead. But all right. So what do we have to talk about today? I've heard a rumor from Mac Rumors about an event. So as of recording right now, there's an event that will happen in between right before this podcast is released, or right after this podcast is released, I should say, on March 4th. That Apple is going to invite select journalists and content creators for an Apple experience. Now, Steve, I don't know what they could be possibly showing at this event, because it's not one of these keynote events or these special events.
Well, it's probably a multi-day thing, right, Aaron?
I don't know. Is that have they called an event an experience before?
I'm not sure. I thought they did.
They might have, but it might have been in other contexts, not in the sense of like journalists and content creators. So
basically, it's not going to be as big of a deal as a regular keynote or whatever. And they did that thing where they released multiple products before last year, and maybe something like that, where they have a video about it and then they'll have the hands-on room. But what's the hands-on thing going to be? I mean, there's lots of rumors about stuff like new studio displays, which is the only reason, not the price tag, that has kept me from buying one. I just wait for them to upgrade, get more expensive.
Yes, right. What could it be? A possibly thinner studio display, or is it going to be like just a souped up, specced up
OLED
version
or
of it?
micro LED? There's lots of rumors about it, but that's the one that everybody's really thinking about, though, is the return of the MacBook.
But there is a MacBook.
The 12-inch MacBook.
Just no. It's not an Air. It's not a Pro. It's just
Well, we don't know, but I'm hoping they call it. I hope they call it a MacBook, because so you remember the 12-inch? I mean, I remember 12-inch. I remember
it very well.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, depends on what you mean by remembering, because like there are versions of the MacBook, and we're talking about the old white MacBook.
No, I'm talking about not the Well, there was an iBook before that. I'm talking about the 12-inch MacBook, the little tiny lightweight thing that had a.
We're not talking about the 12-inch PowerBook. If you're really going old school, do you remember that?
I do. But we're talking about like maybe a small MacBook that's running on an A18 instead of an M1 chip or something. 12.9-inch display, basically the size of a large iPad. But with a keyboard and Mac OS. And I'm curious though if this happens. The rumor is also later in the year to have touchscreen MacBooks, but this is not supposed to be a touchscreen or anything. So it's just going to be like an iPhone. So it's like, what is this? Like Apple's version of a Chromebook? It's just like, it's sort of above that. It's sort of like close to that space, but above it, it's kind of like it's filling in this niche that Apple doesn't usually go for, which is like, it's like lower on the
I think how low you think they're going to go on the price for this?
What's the price range right now for a MacBook? Let me see
probably
here.
Too much.
Well, it's probably like $1,000, right? So like a low-end MacBook.
Well, it depends. You get one new,
like a
or
MacBook
you
Air. Like if we're talking about a MacBook Air, right? That's probably like $1,000, maybe $1,100.
This is why people tune into this podcast to listen to us poorly analyze.
And it's gonna have like 1 gigabyte of RAM.
For a MacBook to be a budget one, right? This thing has to be like somewhere in the range of like an 800, 900.
Yeah, it has to be below 1,000.
No, it's got to be below that.
It's got to be below that.
Yeah, like the base 13-inch.
I'm gonna go $699.
$700.
I'm gonna say $699, $799 maybe $799.
I don't know if anybody would be excited about that price, but that sounds realistic.
$500 would be like the price everybody gets excited about.
Yeah, but that's never going to happen.
Could you imagine, right? It'd be the price of a Mac Mini.
Yeah, man. Well, the Mac Mini now, but so the thing about all this stuff is the prices of Apple stuff has not really changed in a long time, but the price of everything else in the PC industry has gone up like crazy in the last few months. Mm-hmm. So I feel like right now things are an amazing deal, but I gotta guess that Apple's going to start raising prices when they introduce new stuff, because that's like the easiest way to hide the fact that you're have to deal with inflation in your prices. So I wouldn't be surprised if this came out to be like, it was probably maybe it was supposed to be like $500. It's going to come out like $600.
Right. So I'm sorry. I take it back. So currently the Mac Mini is starting at $600.
But you can get it on sale sometimes for $500. Although now I haven't seen that in a while. Even Amazon's prices have been going up because all the clawbot demand.
I know, like. I mean, those guys are crazy. They're buying like four at a time, like 4 to 12 at a time. One. Like, why? But can you explain that? Can you explain that for me?
What? Why you buy 4 of them?
Why you buy a Mini at all?
Okay, why you buy Mini at all for Clawbot?
Yeah.
Oh, is it called Clawbot now? What is the latest name? OpenClaw. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's OpenClaw. Why? Because you don't want to run an LLM harness that just has access to your email and messages and stuff just on your computer. That seems insane, because you're giving an LLM permission to do whatever it wants, whatever it can do on your computer. I think you could do on your computer. So the idea is you're going to isolate it on a separate Mac, and usually what the people do is give it an Apple ID, so it has its own iMessage and everything, and then that way you can message it, and then you can control what's on that computer that has access to. Now that's the smart way. Anyway, but the not so smart way is you just like get a Mac Mini and you just like log in with your Apple ID or whatever, and it just has the same information synced, and then it just deletes all your email or whatever. But the idea is to have an isolated place, just like like you could use a VPS, but this is simpler. And there's another advantage too that apparently comes up with this, that with a lot of apparently if you use like VPS services, sometimes you have trouble apparently messaging this thing through them, because the other services kind of block those IPs or something. But if you're accessing the internet through a home internet connection, basically everything will work. I think that's the idea. Like anything you'd want, your Clawbot, your OpenClaw, anything you want that to access.
Sure,
it should be able to, just like you're at home.
It'll soon be GPT Claw or something.
Oh God, it's probably Claw GPT. Because so the ChatGPT chat was the first application for GPT, so it kind of would make sense that this would be, Claw GPT or something. But
wouldn't that be such a troll move if they decided to like name it Claw GPT and then be like, all right, Anthropic, now bring the lawyers.
But the point is the Mac Minis are very cheap now. They're actually because of RAM prices and stuff. They're actually the base model
phenomenal
is a super deal.
Yeah.
But I think as things get updated this year, all the new I think the new products are going to have higher prices, and Apple's going to be like, well, we're adding all this cool new stuff. But the real reason is because even Apple can't keep their margins the way they are forever.
Yeah.
They are in a better position than anyone else in the computer industry to not raise prices as much, but they're going to do it. And I don't know if they're going to do it for this thing, but maybe. But the real thing, the thing about this is people have wanted a lower cost MacBook for a long time, and a lot of people love that 12-inch. If you remember when the 12-inch was out, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It was just really, really underpowered because it was running an Intel chip, right? And it was just terrible. But
I forgot it was an Intel MacBook.
Yeah, man. It was gone before
Makes
Apple
sense.
Silicon.
Yeah. It died pretty quickly
because it was a terrible computer, but a wonderful form factor for so many people. So if they bring that back and it's running an A18,
what are the chances it's the exact same form factor as the last one?
Literally, Apple just had a whole stack of old 12-inch chassis.
That's how they save money.
Yeah, they got to save money somehow in this era of hypercomputer inflation from AI.
That would be so hilarious.
Oh yeah, you know what?
But so Tim Cook, like a Tim Cook era Apple would be like,
you got to wait,
you know,
wait 3 years for the next version for the redesign.
Probably. But you should thank Tim Cook though, because if you haven't seen the PC prices lately, like if you wanted to build a PC right now, look, Dell I think has been raising their prices. Everybody's been raising their prices like crazy. Framework had to raise, I think, their memory module prices multiple times in months. Apple's keeping the prices, like they're raising them far, far more slowly, we'll say, and probably will raise them less than other manufacturers will, because they have, there's various reasons for that, but mostly comes down to Tim Cook is a master of
logistics.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, or to let's just say, for example, like, maybe people just get overblown about, the AI crash happens, right? Like, could you imagine that, like, or the bubble finally bursts, right? Like, let's just say it happens this year. These prices won't stay this high for this long. At least I mean,
eventually,
as long as the bubble.
Down.
Yeah, as long as the bubble hype continues, then sure. But like,
look, man, right now all the supply of stuff has been bought up, so depends. Yeah, eventually.
I think Western Digital says like we're out for 2006.
Okay, so I heard the prices might start coming back down in like 2028 they might start having the supply crunch might start easing. But then also I heard by around then is exactly when Taiwan might get invaded. So then we're all screwed.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, on a lighter side note, getting back to the topic.
Yeah, we had a point. We were trying to make about this.
I don't know if we had a point.
Well,
by now.
My point is, look, man, I think it's cool. What from a developer's perspective, right? You have a MacBook running an A18 chip, which is basically, I think it has a faster single core or than an M1 or around the same. I think it's faster single core, and I think it's actually in many ways more performant than an M1 generation was.
Okay, and judging from they also added like it's going to act closer to like an iMac-esque color, like fun color options, kind of like
they're gonna have fun color options. I don't care about that, but but consumers care about that.
No, but in the sense of like, well, I'm just thinking in terms of positioning, right? Because like from that standpoint, this is now sort of like falls into that, like there's an iPhone Pro, and an iPhone Air, ironically enough, right?
But here, and then from a developer standpoint, think about this.
Okay,
what does this do if it's successful? Instead of an iPad, you might be carrying around the MacBook because it's lighter. Like right now, you can get a smaller iPad, but like say you get the 12.9 inch one, it's a little big, and then you have to get a keyboard and stuff. It starts making it heavy. This will probably be thinner and lighter, at least more. It'll feel more compact than like an iPad equivalent and cheaper. But it's also running an A18 chip, so it should have amazing battery life theoretically, right? So what does that do from a developer perspective? Is there any kind of applications that are now more feasible, or at least more market feasible in that world? Like if everybody's carrying around a Mac that they're maybe more willing to open up and use more like the situations for an iPad, not exactly the same, but like where does it fit into the lifestyle of a computer user in this case versus an iPad versus an iPhone? I think it's interesting to think about because we haven't had this device in a while.
Well,
before we had a lot of limitations.
It's kind of weird because like this is the same problem of like the iPhone Air or even the iPhone minis, right? Like, will it fall on the same fate as those? Where like we talk about, oh yeah, that was a great device. We still talk about the iPhone Mini like it was a great device, and it still is
great, but no one bought it.
Problem is that nobody bought it.
Well, that's because nobody has two phones.
You don't have a phone and an iPhone,
except for crazy people who
no. People who work for corporations have two phones. A work phone that's issued.
They don't have two phones by choice.
Their personal phone. No.
Wait,
okay, not by choice.
Remember the What was the smallest MacBook? Was it an 11-inch or was it 12-inch or something like that? Which one are we thinking of? Was there an 11-inch one? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah.
There was an 11-inch
MacBook Air 11-inch one.
Yeah.
I remember when that came out. I remember corporate people having it. And there was a 12-inch MacBook, which was the one that I have most remember. But the 11 and 12-inch form factor really popular with executives, popular people that are not doing heavy computing but want to carry around a regular Mac computer everywhere they go. But now they can do it with the battery life of an iPad is the idea, I think. And that's interesting because Apple's been trying to make iPads into essentially this for this space in the market for a long time, and it's just not working. And I think part of it is they're just so bloody expensive, especially when you start adding on computing accessories like keyboards and stuff, and
So
they're not.
You think this is going to appeal to the exec types?
I think it'll appeal to them. I think it'll appeal to people who just need a cheap computer, and I think that the redesign that will come in 3 years will have a touchscreen, and then we're really going to be talking about competing with iPads.
Well, actually, that's kind of interesting because, like, basically, it would compete with the iPad, right? But then you're basically removing the huge chunk of touchpad in the front of the laptop, so you save space there, right? Because all that interaction is happening here, and now we're used to Gorilla Hands, I guess.
Yeah. You remember, Joe, friend of the show, Joe Splinsky had I think had one of these.
Yeah.
And I remember a talk he did, or like a little, what was it? It was like a little workshop he did, and he had this little thing, and I got to try it a little bit. And the keyboard was the terrible butterfly keyboard thing, but it was so cool to have such a tiny little computer. Also, I remember way back in college, like a quarter century ago, when people were walking around with like these little tiny mini, like, little, I think they were probably based on like little Unix things, I think they were, and they were little tiny computers. I remember this. Some people had these little like mini computers. I mean,
I think is the term still cyberdecks? I think
I haven't heard that term in forever.
I see that a lot.
Had a little
feeds.
computer.
Yeah.
So then the really nerdy college kids in the CS whatever had these little tiny computers. This is before iPads and stuff were coming out. So it's like we keep trying to find this form factor, trying to make this form factor work.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see if Apple pulls it off again, because they got it for the 11-inch. They had it. The 11-inch people loved. The 12-inch, I think people loved, but maybe didn't buy it enough. I'm not sure.
Right.
That one had such performance problems. But we'll see.
I mean, it's kind of funny. If this rumor is expected to be true, we'll find out in a week. This is the same. It's positioned the same way the iPad is, the same way the iPhone is, same way the iPad is, right? Where like just a basic name version of any of these platforms is like the expectation is like this is the best bang for your buck, kind of.
Yeah, it'll probably have like 12 gigs of RAM.
It'll have barely enough to run like Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, it has to run Apple Intelligence, but it might be like 12 gigs of RAM or something like that, and because you don't want to eat into the margins, eat into the MacBook Air.
No.
It's probably not going to have the best screen.
It's probably going to have like 256 if you're lucky.
Oh yeah,
storage.
Like that. 256. But that's fine. That's going to be fine. It'll probably have like one USB-C port, that kind of thing. But it's it's going to be the ultra portable, and that's cool. I like that. I like the small ultra portable stuff.
Is it going to have?
I'm waiting for the shoulder strap accessory.
Oh my God, that's like a 50-50 shot of that actually coming out. I can believe it.
Could it'd be more hilarious if they had like a custom like sock.
Oh, it's even better.
Like a sock bag.
Your MacBook Sock.
Looks like a MacBook Sock.
Oh my God.
Limited edition MacBook Sock.
The phones have gotten so big you need a harness for them, and the laptops are getting so small they're almost the size of the phones. So,
I mean,
it
is
funny.
Sort of funny. Like I wasn't sure how much of a trend the idea is. Where like I think it was a Verge article or something where I saw like it was a thing where like you would have a harness and then you would have like a hook for all your keychains and like your phone and all your devices, and that would be like the thing you strapped around, but that was it. So it almost acted like a semi like handbag.
You throw your MacBook on there.
Yeah, right.
Your MacBook on there. It's colorful as long as the lid stays shut, I guess.
I did at a time think it would have been.
It'll be magnetic. Hold on. It's
right.
held on
it'd be like
magnets.
Tron. it would be like Tron, right?
Like
so you'd
Tron,
be like,
you can put it on your back.
You
It's
put it
like
on your
it's like
back.
your
It'd
info
be
disc
attached,
or whatever.
it'd be like magnetically attached to your back, right? And then you pull it out from your back, and it's like as if you think it was cool or something, right? And then then you sit on your coffee table and you start working.
We need to make this a shirt with a magnet on the back that holds the MacBook.
Actually, that is a kind of a funny idea. I mean, I don't know how practical the idea would be.
No, of course not. But just for fun.
Because you need a magnet strong enough to like securely keep it in place, but like easy enough for it to detach properly, right? Like you almost have to like apply like a certain level of a hook or something to like encourage the detachment, or like a button that will like turn off your magnets or something.
I don't know, but I just think that it is useful. It's always cool when Apple comes out with a new form factor of something, because it often will open up opportunities for software developers, even in this world where apparently we're just going to be able to vibe code whatever software we want on demand or whatever. But that day is not yet here. So
the funny thing I've noticed, like an uptick in, is you would think like apps and stuff are being vibe coded, but it's actually like like
they are.
iOS
I mean,
apps
there's
are right.
Huge increase in apps being submitted to the stores, I thought,
for sure. But then I noticed an uptick in Mac apps being built, right? And
because I can believe that, because Mac apps. Look, man, for as awful as Apple's tooling is for iOS apps, it's like worse for Mac apps in some ways and better in other ways.
Yeah, I mean, granted, like I'm not seeing anything like extraordinary, but I mean, just the fact that it encourages it.
I mean, of all the platforms, the Mac's been around the longest of Apple's platforms, so the source code, there's probably more examples of Mac software maybe than even iOS code. Debatable, I guess, but enough of it so that that you can vibe code or agentic-assist code stuff, depending on what level you're going at here.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that, because if you don't, especially if you're going to use AppKit or something like that. Like, I don't want to learn AppKit just for one little tool.
Jeez, no. I'm sure a majority of these new ones are either like Electron apps or Swift UI apps, if they're going to be agentically developed. Which kind of reminds me, since last podcast we had Alex Hillman on the show.
Yes.
Talking about his workflow process, his I don't know what he called it, Andy, but does he have like an official name for his little assistant?
I've seen him referring to it as, I don't know, it's different things, like maybe the JFDI bot. He's gone through different names. So his personal assistant, his robot is a Claude code based robot. So if you haven't watched that episode is a very special episode. You can see our faces on YouTube. It's also,
don't be shocked,
listen to the audio version, but it's cool. I mean, it's and he keeps updating it with amazing new features that he codes with Claude. It's amazing. But yeah, I mean, we did pretty well, guys. You want to know what the views were?
Sure.
Look, we're just gonna pretend like I didn't already tell you, just for the audience. And 19 views, it says, and 5 likes. I mean, that's abysmal for a YouTube channel, but amazing for us.
Well done.
See, the funniest thing is, and these guys have already heard this, but you audience have not. Our watch hours are officially, as of right now, this recording, 46,639% more than the previous month, and our views are only 5,800% more than the previous month on YouTube. So there you go.
Gotta up those numbers.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this because you listened or you watched our Alex Hillman video, I hope you're not too disappointed. Maybe a little disappointed, not too disappointed.
I mean, I will say, like, when I listened back to it, so I am one of the people that actually listened and watched.
I think I'm like 5 of those listens, because I was like going through it as I was checking it after I edited it.
Yeah. I was just trying to figure out, like, it, because he does seem to have sort of this flow state that he talks about, right? It sort of goes into certain rabbit holes of like explorations and kind of like, constant give and take, push and pull. And there's always sort of like this feedback loop of sorts that he's kind of constantly going through, and then it kind of turns into like a pseudo rabbit hole. And then next thing you know, he's like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. He's like, oh, I better get some sleep. And it's such a different kind of experience versus, whereas like a lot of it is just more like mini dopamine rushes of like, oh, this is kind of cool. Oh, well, why don't we add this, or why don't we do that? And I've noticed, I've heard this story a lot with the people who are playing around with either vibe coding or doing agentic development in general, where they're use Claude Code or some Claude or Codex or whatever to sort of like vibe code and build a personal app for themselves over the weekend or overnight or whatever. And the same thing happens where they're like, they stay up pretty late and to some degree maybe even spend a little more extra money than they probably intended to building out whatever the thing they do. But they're like so addicted is probably not the right word, but like so like caught in that sort of cycle. I don't know if that's the same with you guys. I know, Aaron, you've sort of had like mixed feelings about it in terms of like, I'm always tired at the end of the day, where like there's like a sort of fatigue that comes with that. So I don't know if you have any insight on that perspective of that type of coding.
Yeah, for me, it's I haven't gotten to that point for any personal projects. It's like work stuff, and yeah, just feels like more work. I haven't found the personal project that I'm excited to work on with these tools that gets me in that flow state.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar space, but mainly because it is tiring. It is more mentally taxing in a lot of ways than traditional coding, because you can in traditional coding get to a flow state. Right, mm-hmm. Aaron, you were going to say something?
Oh no, it's like it depends on how much vibing you're doing. It's like if you care about the quality of the thing you're making and you want everything you're committing to be correct and tested, or if you're just like, whatever, the robot will fix it automatically at some point, then I don't know. I haven't done that, so I don't know what that's like.
No, in my job, I'm not doing that. I'm like, I have to look at all the code. I have to make sure tests work. And I have to spend a lot of effort designing it. So one of the issues about this is it's like the thing that works with these tools is what some people call spec-driven development, and it's what others might call waterfall design. But what works for these is if you can actually articulate in great detail in a and like even with pseudocode level, like what you want the robot to output. Like if you can design it, architect, and I think this is also really important, if you have an existing well-designed code base for it to operate in and grab examples from, because the CLI tools we use, like Codex that I use, are really good at exploring the code base, finding those examples, especially if you point it in the right direction, and then using those examples and like applying them elsewhere. And so that's what I do all the time, but it requires a lot of thinking and iterating. So you have to like kind of think about it and spec it out and go back and forth with the chat with the LLM until you have some kind of documented specification that you're happy with, and then you let the thing do a phased plan to implement it. And you could do that in various ways. We've talked about it before. And then you have to obviously check it. And so you can check it as it's at different phases. You can check it when it's done. But then you have to go through iteration cycles, because it's not going to be correct 100% the first time, because you're just, as we learned with waterfall development, when you try to design everything up front, you can't get the perfect outcome unless what you're doing is something you've already done before and you're copying it exactly, right? So even when you are doing something that fits in that kind of spec-driven development mechanism, you're still going to have to spend time iterating. And so that loop is slow for Codex. It's a little fast with Claude Code maybe, but it's, and then you still got to run the tests. You still got to have like your build system and Apple's tools. I've been trying different ways of doing this with like sometimes with Xcode, sometimes without Xcode. And, it's exhausting because it's, you didn't get the chance to be in a flow state and write the code to begin with. So you're just kind of always actively paying attention for the most part. Maybe when the few minutes when it's like churning through stuff, you're not exactly, because it's just stuff's flying on the screen. You can't really pay attention to it. But for most of the time, I'm like actively concentrating. I'm either planning something, thinking about it, going back and forth in a conversational style, where I'm reviewing documents, reviewing code, running tests. There's just like a lot of the stuff. And obviously some of that's overlap with traditional development, but a lot of it is I think it's just hyper. It's just increased, because there's just never that part that is most enjoyable, I think, for a lot of us, where you're just writing the code and getting into a state where you have the system in your head, and now you're implementing the pieces of it, and you're writing the tests, and you're trying stuff out, and it's all this fun experience. It's a different kind of fun when the robot spits out something that works or sort of works, and then you can just kind of massage it to the final result. That's fun in its own way, but it's a different kind of fun, and I do find it tiring. And I find at the end of the day, I'm just tired. I'm more tired than sometimes I was before. So I think maybe that's part of the reason why I'm having trouble with a personal project. Besides the fact that I've been playing around with getting Bento Fit updated, but like for something new to do,
wait. What is
what? Our little project that we released in September and haven't updated yet. It's a health kit dashboard. It's a health kit dashboard of a curated list of metrics to help you stay on your fitness journey.
Sounds amazing. What kind of features?
You just you dip in and out, you open it up, you check your metrics, and you put it away, and that's it. It's really simple. It's just it's better than going into health app.
And it's on, and I can get access to it on what website? Bentofit.app. Is that the website?
Yeah, bentofit.app.
All right.
You can then download it in the store and feel free to tip us so we make another $5, because I learned, by the way, guys, that I have to pay like $10 in taxes for that $5 that we got.
How does that work?
Wow. Why?
Because
how does that work?
Because there's a minimum payment. There's a minimum amount. They don't expect you to make less than $10 in a year. So,
oh my God. Can't you expense that somehow?
We just lost money on this app.
No, we can't. You can't expense it. You can't expense it, man.
Oh,
it's
God,
local taxes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
it's fun. It's
somebody
fun.
Please give us $10, please.
That's what happens when you basically have it.
So we can break even.
Yeah, I know, seriously. Because that was the only revenue that came in of that business account.
Good grief.
It's the only app we had in the store. We only had it in the store in like September, and one person gave us an in-app purchase, and then it takes like 3 months or whatever for Apple to get it back to you. So then that was it. Then when the year was over, so we had $4.34. So I owe $10 now on. So it's cost me money. It's costing more than double. That's why I haven't the paperwork yet, because I'm just mad about the whole thing.
I feel you.
But whatever.
Yeah.
The point is, like Aaron, though, I'm tired, and so I haven't thought of something like, what do I want to do? Also, I think, Aaron, I want to know, you said you haven't done anything yet, but I think that I find that in my working with the stuff that it is better with an existing project than it is necessarily Greenfield.
Interesting.
Because
all this stuff like I do at work is existing projects.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. And so, well, think about it, Kotaro. If it's Greenfield, then what are the patterns that the robot's going to be spitting out? It's like whatever's in the training data. So that's going to be like, it's going to trend towards the most mediocre code possible. It's going to go with the thing that has the most examples for the most part, with some variation.
Unless you have a strong opinion.
Yeah, but you have to give it you have to coax it. But then the more effort you put into doing that, like the more you put into your Claude file or Aegis file, whatever, then the more likely the thing is to kind of go off track at some point because you're filling up the context with more stuff ahead, So there's a balancing act there about trying to get it to go. I think that what works is when you kind of work in small pieces and you have an established code base. So if you're doing a Greenfield, I think the best approach is actually to kind of mix it up. You write some bespoke code like a caveman, and then that you can then bootstrap the robot by giving it these examples, and you work on little features that you just kind of scaffold out a little bit enough of. And I don't know to what extent you do that exactly. It depends on your project, but I think that.
Because I'm wondering, for example, like when Alex started, because his whole point was like, I haven't programmed in ages. Probably literally decades, with like maybe a few minor exceptions here and there, right? So his web development experience doesn't go beyond maybe like front-end development, right? Even like front-end development has dramatically changed since the time he was working on it during the caveman HTML, JavaScript, CSS days.
Yeah, there's been like 1,000 JavaScript frameworks since then. Right.
There's been like 1,000 JavaScript frameworks that have died in the span of that he's been working on, like Backbone. What was some of the other ones? Backbone. One of the early ones was Backbone, but then there was like
I don't know.
there was Angular, but Angular's still around. But I'm trying to remember the other ones. That was front end.
jQuery.
Vue.js, which is still around.
All these things are still around. It's just that they're not the trendy ones. And
The trendy one is like
LLMs spit out.
Right, TypeScript and and React and whatever, right? But it's just hilarious of like, so for him, I don't think he's gotten that. I don't know. I don't think I've asked him that properly. Of like, do you get fatigued, or do you get that? Do you get that like tiredness that? And I wonder if that's just because I hear that from some people, but I don't know if that's like a trend or if that's just like, that's just them staying up till 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, I've also gotten tired because I stayed up too late waiting for codecs. Because apparently, if you pay the $20 plan, it's a lot slower than the regular slow plan that you pay. So I mean, I've sat there waiting for
the problem is you're not giving OpenAI and or Claude money. Like because, you need to give them $100 to $200.
Yeah, the jump is 10 is by a factor of 10. It's like you gotta go from 20 to 200. There's no in between option even. There's no like, Steve, or you pay API prices, which I guess is okay.
Give up all your beer. Give up.
I don't even drink any beer anymore. I do have a ramen. I have one ramen thing.
Yeah. No more ramen for you.
No more good ramen then. Just
no more good ramen
only.
Yeah. Throw away the bread.
Yeah, no, I should probably cut back on carbs more than anyway. So there you go. No beef, but that's real expensive.
No beef.
Anyway,
yeah.
Just eat ground turkey and chicken. That's it.
Chicken legs. You could probably get it.
But you see, like, are you not using these tools very much, Kotaro? Is that why you're not experiencing this like Aaron and I are?
For me, at least for work, I haven't had the opportunity yet to really go deep with it. Home, I kind of like, it's like a muscle for me because I think like if I'm at home, I just want to work on my own thing. And as you know, I'm pretty cheap. So, like if I have to pay for this damn thing, like what are we doing here, right?
There's a new,
here's the thing. Somehow they've convinced you to pay $20, $10, whatever, to learn to code, okay, to do the work, to take over the work that you get paid to do. And you're telling me that this is the future. And that's fine, I get it. But like, that's like telling a gourmet chef, don't worry, don't chop those onions anymore. You don't need a perfectly chopped onion. This machine will do it for you at, 20,000, 20x the amount of onions you can cut, right? Like practically that absolutely makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. But from an artisanal point of view or from a personal point of view or from like a muscle, like working a muscle mentally, I struggle with that. I actually struggle with it. Yeah.
Here you go. OpenCode has a new $10 a month subscription, provides generous limits for select models.
See, select models, keyword.
Well, most capable open source models. The open source models, not the expensive.
So we're talking like, what are the open source ones?
Like the Kimi one, I guess. Minimax. What's the other one?
Is there
GLM?
Like a Olama?
Quen, probably. I don't.
Is Olama's free, right? Yeah.
Olama. Okay. Olama's not the most capable anything.
Well, I mean, I'm saying they're good, okay? I'm just saying they're free.
But no, you have a good point though. It's like, there's so much AI psychosis right now.
Well, that's the part that I'm worried about. Like the moment I jump in, it's like JavaScript frameworks from like a while back, right? Like the moment I jump into this framework, it'll be dead.
Well, yeah. Well, I've been thinking similar thoughts. Like I got to make sure that I put some time into hand coding things somewhere, just so I don't fall too behind. But for personal projects, I think it's actually even more tempting to use this. It's like I'm tempted at work because I'm trying to get something done. It's at the end of a project. It's like last 5%. It's really helpful to polishing stuff up and polishing things up. It's not necessarily saving a ton of time, but it's letting me do a lot more the same amount of time. So in a way, it's saving time, but not really. But at home, if you don't have a lot of, you have only a few hours, you want to make some progress, especially if you can tell the robot to do something and then walk away from it for a little while. That's why I think so many people are into making the Ralph loops and that kind of thing. They want to know, can I just make this thing work? Can I just use my phone like Alex can do, where he just goes and tells his robot to do stuff? Like, that stuff is really great when you're using it as like a personal assistant, or when you're coding as something you're doing in between the rest of your life, outside of your job. When you're doing your job, it's different. Yeah.
I would agree that if you don't have the time, and if you certainly can pay for it,
especially if you have life. If you have a life outside of your job, then
right. But you still want to build said thing, right? Said side project or whatever,
or just a thing for yourself. Yeah.
Right. Then, like, having it work, and it's that Terminator. There's that Terminator line. It's like, they don't sleep, they never get tired.
Yeah. It does.
You can run it in parallel. You can run 4 or 5 at the same time to do 12.
An entire gas town.
You can max out, right?
Yeah, and
they don't get tired, but the context window does get full.
Yeah, but then it compacts. Actually, codecs.
Why are you being a Donnie
And it just
Downer
gets slower and slower. The context gets more full.
I've noticed that I don't know what I'm using. I'm using Codex with Codex CLI, and it's gotten better and better. Like, I regularly just run the thing until the context window runs out. It auto compacts and just keeps going. And generally, often I don't even notice that it did it. So it kind of depends on the situation, but they're getting much better with their harnesses and to do this, and because Codex does not have a huge context window, but most of the time I don't have a big problem. Sometimes it's like where it just like loses its mind, and then it has to like start over again from scratch. You have to wait a few minutes for the rebuild the context. But a lot of times it's doing a good job compacting. So the tools keep getting better incrementally, and that's nice. And I do think that these things do not write the best code. They don't write better code than I do. I mean, but when I look at it, but it's usable, especially if you massage it, and more importantly, if you're, as you said, doing stuff at home, or personal stuff, you may not really care too much.
Especially if you're writing like code that you're like okay with not knowing exactly what's going on in it. Like, if the only thing you care about is like, this thing does the thing I need it to do, right? It also kind of
If
one
it's
thing
just
that
for you, it's a tough area, because I think you get into an area of professional ethics, which we're going to have to talk about another time because we're running out of our time right here. But you don't want to be just like, I don't think we're vibe coding at work. Aaron and I are not vibe coding. I hate that terminology anyway. We're not vibe coding. We're using, like, I don't know. I've been kind of calling it agentic-assisted, maybe, because it's not really an agent. I hate all this terminology, but it's like assisted. We're still doing the software engineering, but some of the typey type stuff is happening from the robot.
Yeah, vibe coding is one of those things that's like completely lost its original meaning.
Exactly. So now it's like, oh, you're using an LLM, you're vibe coding. It's like, no, that's not what it means. Vibe coding meant I literally don't look at the code. I don't
look
care.
at the code. Yeah.
Which I'm not doing, and Aaron's not doing.
Like, you can make it somewhat of an argument that Alex Hillman is vibe coding, somewhat.
Oh yeah. Maybe, but it's his personal thing.
Yeah.
And
versus
he's
like
putting a lot of guardrails around it too.
Right. And in that sense, it's very bespoke to his style.
Yeah.
Whereas I think in your case, there's a lot of, because I don't know, does he? It's not like he's creating specs, or is he creating specs on his side?
It's more like it seems like he's these conversations, and he creates these skills, and I'm not sure when he's creating, like, updating the skills, how much he's ever looking at them by hand or not.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of chat, which works really well for building a lot of this stuff. And I just think that if you're coding for other people to use it, like to sell the software or something, or it's part of your business,
or if you have to maintain it at some point.
Maintain it. You can't. There's the idea that you're just going to talk to your computer and have it like write all the code and always be perfect. That's kind of
and
ludicrous.
That the model is going to maintain it forever.
It's going to maintain it. Like, what does that even mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's just going to pick up all your issues and fix them for you.
I mean, sometimes that could work, sure, but it depends. Do you need to evolve the software because the business has changed, or regulatory environment changed, or something? It's like regular.
It just becomes another subscription thing that you depend on for your thing to run.
Yeah,
just like
that's a whole other
your VPS or your web hosting or whatever.
Yeah, that's Kotaro was
that's what
out.
the model companies want.
Right, which is why they keep the fact they keep saying that they're going to replace all software developers or something doesn't make any sense, because obviously they don't believe that, because then they'd have no customers, because the only product that has made anybody any revenue, and I don't know if it's making them any profit, is selling the stuff to programmers, which again is a tiny niche population compared to the whole world, which is why nobody outside of our bubble gives a crap about any of this stuff. In my real life, I encounter people, not only do they not give a crap, they actively hate anything with the name AI attached to it. Like, I've never seen the hatred. The hatred in their eyes is usually reserved for politics, but instead it's directed at like OpenAI or they don't even know who Anthropic is. Or they only know ChatGPT, and then so they hate ChatGPT, and especially if they're an artist of some sort.
It's really mostly Copilot. If they're Microsoft users, oh my goodness,
everybody hates Copilot because it's awful. But then
why would you put Copilot in Notepad of all things?
Why is Copilot unable to do something in Excel, but Anthropic managed to do it with Claude? Like, how? What in the love of? What are they doing in Microsoft? I don't understand. Did they just fire all their actual developers? Have they secretly just been running things through their half-assed GPT model that they got from OpenAI or something, and running in some low-rent Azure cloud? Like, what is going on over there?
Hey, careful! You're possibly very close to the truth.
And Azure's fine. Azure can be fine. People love Azure. Azure's not the background. Yeah. I'm saying they're using like the cheap, outdated Azure or something. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with Copilot. It makes no sense to me. Google also is making a product which is actually pretty good, apparently, for a lot of things, just not necessarily for coding. And, it's a weird space. Yeah, so everybody hates Copilot. But what I'm saying is the people I'm encountering recently, most people know GPT. Like, if they know anything, and if they think of themselves as...
Did you just say GPT?
No, GPT. I probably said it wrong.
I kind of like that word, GPT, because nobody wants to pay. Nobody will pay for the $20 subscription.
No, but anyway, what I'm saying is people hate it, and especially if they're an artist of some sort, they think of themselves as an artist, they hate it. Whether their perception of it is matching reality is a different discussion. There's things that obviously to dislike, the fact that these companies basically stole all of our intellectual property to build their models and then complain when other people do the same to them. That's kind of funny, actually. But
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Seriously, I can't believe it. Yeah, but
I can't with these people.
But my thing is, people, their exposure level is just basic ChatGPT, and probably not even paying for it level, and that's just not the same place we're at. And they have a very negative attitude, and that negative attitude is not really coming from using the best of the best products. It's coming from the asinine comments of the CEOs of these companies and the weirdos who are in the bubble and hype this up to the moon and keep telling everybody that we're all doomed and that next year we're going to have no jobs and you're screwed and your kids shouldn't go to school and all this other crap. And it's like, I just want to make an update to Bento Fit. That's all I want to do.
How many iterations of that have you done so far?
I think I've done 3 massive PRs with different models as an experiment where I just let it churn and see what it comes up with.
I don't know if we have time for this, but it is a fascinating pattern I've noticed where I've seen this sort of argument or idea where you're pushing up code constantly, right? And not just you, but your colleagues, and it's all on the main branch.
Well, it's main branch development is a thing. I mean, but
right, but there's barely any checks.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's a terrible idea. That's a freaking terrible idea.
I kept thinking, is that a thing where it's almost like because you have so much confidence in the fact that it's doing its own build and it's running its own tests.
You have confidence in a robot. It's the LLMs are not to be trusted. These things are not intelligences. You can't trust anything comes out of them 100%. You can't.
it always makes the perfect tests, okay? Like, you told it to.
They've
out.
gotten better at making tests. You still got to review the test. I look at the tests it makes. It makes good tests, but sometimes it doesn't.
See,
so
you said it yourself. It makes good tests.
Sometimes it makes bad tests. You have to look at it.
I mean, I always say, who tests the test? And they're like,
who tests the testers? No, but I've seen that, along the same vein where people are saying, like, online, they're proud of the fact that they're generating huge lines of code. Like, I'm doing 1,000 lines of code a day or whatever. And it's like, that's not a good metric. We went through, it's like the entire developer and computer industry has lost its freaking mind and forgotten literally decades and decades of experience. It's, software engineering has not, like, changed. You just have a robot that can type faster than you. It doesn't mean that you can just forget all of the lessons learned. It's so frustrating. Code is a liability. Generating 1,000 lines of code a day, generating more code than you can possibly understand, or your team can understand, or you can guarantee has appropriate test coverage and stuff, that's idiotic, and you're going to cause a disaster. It's like I'm watching the entire industry we're part of barrel down the street at high speeds, just right towards a wall, and I'm just waiting for it to crash. And it's terrifying. And not everybody's doing this, obviously, but the blowhards that get the most attention, that make everybody hate the entire industry, are the ones that seem to be promoting this crap. And it's very irritating. It's very irritating to me. So I just want, I want to, you can use these tools to accomplish a lot of great things, make your life better, help you build stuff, whatever. But you got to do so intelligently and as a professional, and don't buy into the hype. Gotta, like, it's fun to dip into and laugh at, but
We're too late now.
We're too late.
We are like riding that hype train straight into wherever it's going.
Well, I'm gonna continue to be cheeky about it.
We're full hyping.
I'm gonna continue to be cheeky. I did change my, like, LinkedIn profile to AI Cowboy.
Did you get more views?
I don't know. Maybe that was an inside Kotaro. I don't know what we were doing. We were having a discussion about.
And we weren't even drunk when we were talking about it.
And you were like, AI Cowboy. And I was like, I'm just going to use, I don't know, one of us said AI Cowboy or something. I was like, I'm going to put that in my LinkedIn profile and my social media and see if anybody notices and asks what it means. Because it doesn't mean anything. That's kind of the point. People just put it in their profiles. Like, I'm an AI person, whatever.
I mean, hey, if you had more job offers, then, more power to you.
I did get some LinkedIn spam. It was, like, completely irrelevant. And it was like, it's still, like, mostly irrelevant crap. You're like, oh, would you like to do this job that nobody wants, and it's, like, out of state, and it's going to pay you very little? It's like, no, I don't want any of that. What are you doing? We'll see.
All right.
I got to create, like, my own little vibe coded auto bot of some sort. That'll get me.
Regardless, it is interesting that you've built 3, or how many iterations with your PR? How many PR iterations?
At least 3. I think I did 3 iterations of refactoring the thing just to see what it does. And I mean, different models come out with different things. They all kind of go in the same direction, but it's not. I never expected to merge any of them because it's like gigantic PRs full of that I didn't look at all. I just like the one last one I did Codex.
I actually spent quality time reviewing your code.
Why did you review it? It's slop code. I just wanted to see what it did.
I am a diligent developer. Okay,
it was never meant to be looked at beyond, like, a cursory examination.
I spent a whole hour looking through that code. Like, that's an interesting idea. Why would he do that?
I didn't do it. The robot did it. That's the whole point. I literally gave a description of what I wanted the outcome to be, and I'm like, can the vibes, the people who say you can vibe anything, let's see what happens.
This does not look like a Steve-style coding.
No, because it's slop code. I'm just to test out the models. No, it's just like I'm coming up with so one of the things, and I know we're over time, but one of the things that a lot of people use these models do is they say you should come up with, like, some kind of way of doing a test. And I think this might end up being one of my tests. Like, I might take the version of the app we have now and, like, make a tag and then use that model, that version, and just be like, here, do a big refactor. And I'll just give it the same instructions for every model just as a test, because it is interesting to see what these things spit out when you give it, like, a really, really huge, somewhat amorphous, request. because you'll see the same patterns and you'll see some very different things. Depends on the model and stuff. And so, but one of the ways you can kind of evaluate these things is that way.
Now, the real question is model. Which expensive, are you going to put an expensive model on it?
Well,
Are you going to throw a Sonnet or a Gemini?
I did.
Yeah. Codex is the most expensive.
That's the one. That's the one I did most recently. I think I did might have been 5.2 Codex. That one because I did it on my $20 plan. But right now, Codex is practically free for everybody because they've been giving people so many tokens. But
goodness,
the other ones were like open source models that I was doing stuff with, and they cost me like I think I did Anthropic.
Because are you still doing it? Are you still doing it? The thing through T3?
I use T3, but for this stuff,
for this one,
I'm using like CLI tools, which T3 does not yet have one. Although I hear they might actually be making one.
Interesting. Sure. I did not know they didn't have it. Okay, yeah.
No, they're still web based primarily. But I mean, look, I still love T3 chat. It's a great little product. And they're going to have an iOS app, and it's going to be made in like either React Native or Flutter. I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but it's going to be one of them.
Oh, I would be curious to see because he's from a React background, right? Like that's
Theo?
his.
Yeah, he's a JavaScript guy.
Yeah,
TypeScript.
So I
should say TypeScript.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but I'd be surprised if he. I would be curious to see like what.
I thought he was making a native app.
He was doing something with Swift UI and then had a crash out about Apple and Swift and stuff. And I was just like, yeah, well.
Just use Electron and, do it in React. I mean, in TypeScript. Be happy.
Yeah, do whatever you want. I mean, oh man, there's so many things I could talk about this. Like people are like, languages don't matter anymore because they can just translate between them. I'm like, that is not correct because languages have different affordances and they're designed for different things. It's like Erlang is very different than C. And while I guess you could technically write anything you could write in one and the other one, you're probably not going to have great results translating from one another without
everything
thinking.
Is going to be written in Rust, okay? Rust is the language
the latest
of the future.
thing is not Rust. No, you're not thinking. You're not thinking deep enough. It's just going to be, people are saying it's just going to be binary. It's just going to spit out binary. We're never going to have an intermediary code representation. It's going to be English straight to binary. And I'm just like, it's freaking insanely stupid. I can't. And people, big names, have been saying this. And I can't.
I've heard that they were.
I'm not saying they won't do that product. I'm saying it's stupid.
What was the joke that there was like one
output binary?
I don't know how serious the joke was from the Moltbot, like the
I can't
Reddit.
Tell when he's being serious or not. I just
the Reddit. Well, about like the Reddit post about like the LLMs talking. Oh, I'm sorry, the
MacBook stuff.
Yeah. Where
there was a bunch of fakes.
I'm sure it was fake, but like the concept is interesting. Where like because a lot of it's like sci-fi.
It's not interesting. That's the thing. It's not interesting. It's one function taking the output of one function as an input to another function in loops. It's like
no. That part's not interesting.
Oh, well, which part is interesting?
The sci-fi the post about like why do we have to speak in English?
Yeah. Why
just come up with our own language? And I was like, yeah, bot. Even though I know you're probably not a bot, but yeah, bot. That's how you should think.
This is not a new idea. How many protocols do we have? We have many, many networking protocols that exist. Literally, this is what they are. They're like often in binary formats. You can't read like as a human being. Like I can't, man. I'm losing my mind.
This is the Steve crash out.
I can't, man. I have to just delete the X app from my phone because every time I'm in there, there's stupid algorithm updated recently because I interacted with like AI stuff. All I see is the worst AI things ever, and every additional post makes me think that the world is going to end, and not because of AI, but because these people are dumb and they're going to like crash the economy. Or like make software so buggy that all of our computers are going to crash Y2K style. That's what it seems like. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Hopefully you've been entertained by this meaningless rant.
I'm entertained. I don't know about you.
Mildly entertained.
Mildly entertained. We're going to be fine. Meanwhile, Aaron and I are gonna just like make regular software using these tools. We're just gonna use them appropriately, and then
might eventually join the vibes, or what are we calling it? The agentic. What are we calling this again? Agentic.
I'm calling it currently agentic-assisted is what I've been saying.
Assisted,
like
agentic,
AA, but I don't
agentically
know if that's a
assisting.
good acronym.
Agentic-assisted.
AA developer, is that a good idea to say that?
Probably not.
I don't know. Maybe not.
But,
Come up with a better name.
Yeah. So I guess we'll end it here today. You can learn more about Philly Cocoa at phillycocoa.org. There you'll find links to our Slack group, meetup schedule, and contact info. If you're feeling generous, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your podcast platform of choice is. And share us with all your developer friends. And one more thing. I don't have a one more thing, but I do want to shout out to appjohn.com. Friends who's our friendly friends there in Bucks County, wishing you a shout out with all the apps that they make. Some that do have little bits of AI sprinkled in all over it. ClipDish.
Yeah, because they're professional developers.
They are
know how to use it
professionals. And when I mean professionals, I mean these guys know their app development inside and out. Also, Minimalist Meditation Timer. All of them are iOS, iPhone, and iPad. Pretty much all of them have a subscription model, but you can try it before you buy, and try it. And they do have reasonable limits on each one in terms of like how much you can use it before you hit the paywall, so to speak.
Yeah,
but really good friends of the pod, and shout out to you, Matt and Joe. And hopefully we see more of your great work. And again, that's appjohn.com. Yep, appjohn.com.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes.
Just make sure. In the show notes. Until next time, good luck on your own developer journey. We will cheer for you always.
The LLMs are not to be trusted.